In this training video, we'll talk about everything that happens when you're in the cabin during cabin time, some of the cabin rules that we have, what FOB is, and just some fun different game ideas for while you're in there. The first cabin time we'll have at camp is when the campers have first arrived, right after they have just gotten paired with you as their counselor. So this is a huge time to be able to start building that relationship and making them feel safe and have a fun environment for camp. So during this cabin time, we'll have them unpack their luggage, and so you can help them with that and just help get settled. We'll make sure their name is on everything that they bring if they haven't already done that. And then we'll make sure they don't happen to have electronics or medication with them, even though they shouldn't, because we'll take that up before they get on the bus. Then you can help them set up their beds. This will be their home away from home. And so help them make their bed as comfortable as possible, and it can be their special place. And you can help personalize it. They can make signs for it if they want to, but this is their special place at camp. You can play a game all together as an icebreaker in your cabin. And so an example is 2 truths and a lie, a name game, since a lot of y'all will not know each other. You can be creative with that just to start having some fun and kind of set up in a fun way. The next thing is you'll do cabin rules. And so you will have a poster board and you're going to come up with your own unique cabin rules. And so some of the obvious cabin rules would be no cussing or no pranks or being kind to each other. But also you can let the campers help make the rules and things that they think should be important to include in that. And so one of the counselors can be leading it and writing these things on the poster board that you get. And then a good idea also is to have each of the campers sign it. And so that they're kind of taking ownership of these rules also that they all came up with. And then the last thing that you'll be doing is coming up with your cabin chant. And so each of your cabins will have a specific theme, whether it's a color or an animal. And so you'll have a chant to go along with that. And so whenever you're getting dismissed to go to any of the meals or different activities, I'll ask you to do your cabin chant. And this is a way to build unity together and just have a fun way to dismiss. And sometimes I might have you do it loud or quiet. And so that's why you'll have to think of just a short, fun cabin chant to do with your cabin. Every morning, music will be playing really loudly to wake everybody up. After wake up, there will be a little bit of time in your cabin to get ready before breakfast time. So during this cabin time, you'll need to greet each camper, make sure they're getting awake, and make sure when you greet them that you make sure that their bedding area is dry. So if the bed is wet and they have had an accident during the night, we want to put the wet clothes and bedding into a clear trash bag. And there'll be laundry detergent by the washer and dryer for you to wash the clothes. And you can ask a staff if you need help with this. We want to make sure that all the campers are getting awake and getting ready for the day, seeing what the temperature's like outside to know how they want to dress. And then once they're dressed, we want to make sure that all the campers are putting their clothes and other belongings back in their bags, making their beds, just making sure that the cabin is starting to get picked up. And so we want to make sure that it's not getting too dirty and otherwise things start getting lost or broken. And so then whenever everyone's ready, it'll be time to stand outside of the cabin to be dismissed to go to breakfast. FOB will happen in the afternoons after lunchtime on full days of camp. So FOB stands for flat on back, feet on bed. There's different things for it, but basically it's a resting time for everyone or just quietly hanging out in the cabin. So depending on how your cabin is, all the campers either need to be on their own bunk or you can quietly hang out on the floor and talk to each other if they're able to handle that. So this is just a time to play some games together, color. It's called an FOB box, and so there will be crowns, books, papers, some string to make bracelets, but also you can get creative. Before the nighttime club happens, you'll have some time in your cabin for all the kids to start getting ready for bed. So showers can be happening, brush their teeth, changing into clean clothes. This isn't a time for every single person to get a shower, but it's just to help break it up a little time before the club, and then you'll have a little time after club also. If no one wants to shower or everyone is done, then they can play outside for a free time. And also they can come to club in their pajamas as long as they're appropriate and still have clothes on. After the nighttime club, it's time for everyone to finish getting ready for bed and go to sleep. So everyone needs to finish taking showers, brushing their teeth, all of those things. They need to then get on their own bunks. This isn't a hangout time. This is just a time to get ready for bed and go to sleep. We definitely want all of the counselors for y'all to be going around and getting prayer requests that you can write down, and we'll make sure to come around and take all those so that we will be praying for those throughout the week. Y'all can read a story to everyone or just individually. You can tell a Bible story. There's lots of different things you can do during this time to help them not talk. So that's really the key to helping your cabin calm down, is not letting them get riled up by talking to each other and laughing. And so if you're telling a story, then they should be listening. We definitely want to make sure to pray with the cabin every night. That can be individually with your campers, or that can just be as a whole, but we definitely want to pray over them at night. 2 general rules about when you're in your cabin at night is that no one leaves the cabin after lights out, unless there's a problem and a counselor needs a staff or anything. The kids should not just walk out for any reason unless there's a really big problem. And lights out is at 10 o'clock every night. And so a camp staff will be going around and making sure the lights are turned off and to offer assistance if y'all are having a hard time. Typically, everyone is asleep by 11:30. Usually no one will ever be up by midnight. Getting the kids to go to sleep at night can be difficult, and so I just wanted to list out some helpful things that would make that process hopefully smoother. And so going to bed for the kids can be hard for multiple different reasons. Some of those being nightmares that they might have at night, and so then they don't want to go to sleep because they know they have those nightmares. They might be scared of the dark. They might be feeling homesick, or they might just not even be tired. A lot of our kids during holidays and vacations don't go to bed until midnight or 3 a.m. sometimes. And so trying to get them to go to bed at 10 can be a big stretch a lot of times. So some of the things that help this going to bed process go smoother is if they are on their own bunk. So this helps minimize problems that has to do with them being next to each other. And this helps them not talk as much. So being on their own bunk, laying down, showing you how they're going to sleep. Lights are turned off. One counselor is reading to the cabin. So what's helpful about reading to them is that then hopefully they're not talking and they're listening to the story. And if it's a really long story, which you can make it long also. And so I would encourage whoever is telling a story to add lots of detail. And so this just gets kind of a soothing voice in the room. And so they're able to just kind of go to sleep more likely with a soothing voice. And also because it helps remind them that they're not just alone in the cabin, because they're still hearing someone talk. And definitely pray with them. And so we want to cover them in prayer the whole week, but especially right before bed, since a lot of them do struggle with nightmares or might be feeling homesick or scared. And so a lot of them are used to sleeping with siblings. And so just praying that they'd still be able to fall asleep. And then this one should be obvious, but sometimes it's really hard to enforce or get them to do, but definitely no more talking. And so sometimes it seems like a good idea to allow them to whisper. Your cabin can definitely try it, but it typically doesn't work. So what usually happens is they will just start whispering, but then they'll laugh really loud from a joke, or their whisper just turns into normal talking. And it usually disrupts the people in that cabin, but also if there's a cabin beside them, they can hear it. So having a bedtime routine for each night will just help them know what to expect from night to night. And it'll help you just remember what works best also. So every cabin will be different between the girls and the boys, between the older kids and the younger kids. And so you'll just have to learn what works best for yours. During the first cabin time, after the campers have just arrived to camp, you'll be making your cabin rules for everyone to follow. But these are common rules that everyone needs to follow, whether they're on that list or not. Or you can also make sure to add them to that list on the poster board. First one is no cussing. So a lot of our kids are very used to cussing and will continue to do so unless we just try to stop it at the very beginning. And so just encouraging them to use different words and to say it in a better way will help minimize that. Keeping it real. So real stands for respect, encourage attitudes like Jesus, and listen up. So a lot of these kids know about that, and so they know that they need to be keeping it real and doing those things. So that's just a good reminder. How do we keep it real? And so they should be able to say that. And if they aren't being able to keep it real, then that's a good tool to use to remind them of that. You cannot be alone in the cabin with your camper. So this is to protect you and also to protect the camper. Just from anything that can be said, be done, we always want 2 sets of eyes, not just one. And also, if something does happen to the camper or to you, that way one person is able to help the person and one person is able to go and get someone else. Everyone must change in the bathroom. So we do not want anyone to show anyone any parts of their bodies, whether it's innocently or on purpose, so everyone needs to change in the bathroom. Respect each other's property. No camper or counselor should be going through anyone's things. So those are their personal belongings, and we want to respect each other's things. We're not going to mess with them in a mean way, or we're not going to go through them unless we haven't asked their permission. And absolutely no pranking. So it might seem funny or innocent, but a lot of times this will just really disrespect whoever you are pranking, and it doesn't make the campers feel safe in that environment, and we want a safe and encouraging environment. A lot of times the campers will start to get bored while they're in their cabin, but really this is a fun opportunity to connect with them and to just make it feel like one big family. And so you don't have to just sit there and not talk or not do anything when you're in your cabin, but you can make it fun. So some of those ideas are playing games. You can talk and ask them questions to get to know them better, play tic-tac-toe. You can color and draw each other pictures to hang on their beds or just to take home with them. You can go over the Bible verses that we've been learning. You can sing the camp songs that we've been learning. You can even clean your area. That's it for this video. Hopefully that was helpful, and we'll see you at camp.